Okay, hear me out. I am working on the Disturbing Movie Iceberg Tier 5. I am. I'm editing it right now. Just give me some time, okay? It's probably going to be the next video I upload. In the meantime, okay, I'm going to waste my time on this fucking dumb shit. I watched Morbius like a couple hours ago, and look. I knew it was going to be bad. I knew, okay? My brother's friends were like, no, it's really good. It's like my favorite movie, bro. And he's wrong. Like, on all accounts. It's a dumb fucking movie, and I don't like it. So, let's get into this. It was directed by Daniel Espinosa. I don't know anything about this guy. Hold on, I'm actually gonna look it up. Yeah, I don't know anything that he has done. Like, it was a flop. Let's just be honest. I think they were hoping to like expand on the universe, like expand on the Marvel universe, but it was like, I feel like the superhero trend is kind of dying out by this point, you know? They haven't been doing it as well. No Way Home was like biggest movie since Endgame, I guess, but let's just jump into this. Okay, Morbius starts with a flash forward, which is code for my opening scene is boring, so I need to open with a different one. The main character, Michael, goes and he gets vampire bats. He like cuts his hand to attract the bats and walks in with a cane and shit, and it's supposed to be like badass. And he's like, Michael is like hot crippled, if that makes sense. Like, picture that one guy from Arcane with the cane, like that genre, you know what I mean? Like, long hair, he's got a cane and a limb. I don't know why it's a genre, but it is appealing, okay? And we're gonna talk about the sex appeal of this movie in a minute. Then flashback to like 20 years previous to Michael as a kid in a hospital, and he meets another kid who tells him his name, but Michael is like, no, you're Milo. And the kid goes, okay. And then everyone in Milo's life just calls him Milo from that moment on. Milo almost dies because the nurses are negligent and don't check up on him when his machine goes down, so Michael fixes it with a spring and a ballpoint pen. I'm genuinely trying to wrap my head around that one, but like his dad or the head doctor or I don't know, some dude behind a desk, he's like, Michael, you're a genius. I'm gonna send you to special school. And then Michael grows up and becomes a doctor with the goal of fixing himself and Milo, who suddenly are brothers, or however they put it. They met 5 seconds ago, but now they're best friends. So Michael goes to work in the hospital. He graduates. He's like all this shit. He graduates. Oh, we're told later in the movie that he's had all of these like made all of these medical advances. Like, a cop that comes to him later is like, your artificial blood invention like saved me in Afghanistan. And it's never really expanded upon. They kind of just dropped that there, and you're like, oh. A lot of things are. And like, genuinely, when he first went for it, I didn't know what the art of I didn't because it's like blue. I didn't know what it was. I turned to my brother and I was like, what the fuck is that? And he's like, I don't know. And then later on they're like, artificial blood, and I'm like, oh, okay, that would have been nice to know. So Michael goes to work in this hospital that only has like one patient, and he falls in love with this other doctor whose name I can't remember. He's like in his office, and she comes in and she's like, I figured you out. And it turns out he's been keeping vampire bats in a chamber in the hospital, and it's a secret because it's illegal and unethical. But then, well, because he's like doing all of these experiments for his sickness. I don't know what his sickness is. It's never told to us. He's keeping vampire bats in a chamber in the hospital, and it's a secret because it's illegal and unethical. But then later on, a nurse walks in to get their attention about that single patient in the entire hospital and literally is within eyesight of the bats. So I guess it's not a secret. Milo grows up to be the 11th Doctor, and they do a lot of check out how hot he is shots, and he dances like a white boy, and yeah, we'll get to that. Again, that's in reference to being like sexy, not the dancing. I should have clarified that. Okay, Michael rents a boat with his girlfriend, and he figured out that the genes the bats have can fix the bad gene he and Milo have. So, with no other testing, okay, they tested it on a single mouse. They did not examine its behavior. They just kind of were like, okay, this is fine to use on humans now. Not only humans, but Morbius himself. He's like, okay, I'm gonna inject this into my veins and see what I'm going to inject this into my spinal cord and see what happens. They like strap him down, and of course that does nothing. He decides to inject it into himself illegally on a boat in international waters. What the fuck? So he's hired a bunch of guards, like with assault rifles, and it's not really explained why. Like, they don't end up, like, obviously they're no match for him in his full form, but whatever. He goes psycho mode and he kills everyone on the boat except his girlfriend, because of course. He sucks all of their blood out. So, like, there's this really gross, like, motion filter whenever he moves fast, and it looks really bad. It's like colorful and kind of like fog. I know that this is a comic book movie, but how does that happen? Is it like, are other people in the universe seeing this? So he wakes up and is like, oh no, and calls for help and aborts before anyone finds him there. He finds out he needs to drink artificial blood to not resort back to how he was before the serum, but he needs it every 6 hours and it's rapidly declining. Like, the last time they mentioned it in the movie, it's at like 4 hours. So okay, his thing is like, I won't kill anybody, and this is never explained, but does he need to drain people completely to stay functioning? Like, how much does he need to drink? They make a mention later on in the movie about, like, there being, I think it's 6 pints of blood in the human body, and, like, how much does he need to drink? But they never expanded on this. He's like he's a scientist. Morbius is a scientist. Why is he not? Like, he does research, but it's not, we're never told any of information. It's very vaguely explained. He's like, I've been expanding my echolocation, but not like important things, like how much does he need to drink? Can he eat regular food? How much blood can he hold in his body, and how long does it sustain him for? Shit like that. Does he need to drain people completely to stay functioning? Can he not just, like, take a sip? How fast is his time in between drinking declining? Like, we're never given a timeline. Like, how long does he have before, like, give me an estimate. It went from 6 hours to, like, 4 hours. How long in between was that? It's never told to us. He has these abilities, but it's never clear whether he only has them immediately after drinking the blood. So, like, does he have the ability to, like, fly and shit? Like, does that effect wear off and he needs to drink more blood in order to continue to have that superpower? Milo drops by and Michael has a I need to drink blood episode, so Milo gets him some artificial blood, and Michael has handy, and Milo's like, you're cured, gimme, and Michael is like, no, and they get in a little fight, and then Milo, sulks. Later on, a nurse is killed in the hospital, like drained of blood. Michael hears this and decides to leave. An investigation has been opened on the attacks on the boat, and the cops suspect Morbius, you know, the doctor who needs a cane to walk, took out 8 armed guards. Okay. But the cops show up at the hospital to question Michael, and they find out about the nurse who died. Michael bolts and then ends up arrested. The cops question him. He's like, I need blood. They're like, no. And he's like, you won't like me when I'm hungry. And, yeah, that was a surreal experience. Me and my brother, like, turned to each other in the theater, and we're just like, fuck. Milo comes to visit him in jail by posing as his lawyer, which, like, they didn't check ID. Okay. Milo brings Michael blood, and again, they didn't search him. They didn't question why he had, like, a bag of blood and he brought it to the vampire guy. Okay. Milo leaves, and Michael finds Milo's cane leaned against the door, and he's like, nee, because Michael took the bat serum, and it's like this whole thing. Michael breaks out. He and Milo fight. Milo's like, I'm sick of being sick, and Michael is like, you're killing people. You've heard the story a million times. It's not original. There's some other shit, like a forced romance between Michael and that girl. Like, okay, sidebar. We're getting to it. The main point of my grievance with this movie. Like, in concept, I like this movie. Okay? Jared Leto, with long dark hair, as a doctor, recently turned vampire to cure his crippling disease. Hot. Like, I'd hit it. Like, there were many points throughout this movie that I was like, fuck yeah. And then they put the gross CGI vampire face on his face. Actual Jared Leto as a vampire, like, yeah, disgusting CGI face that totally turns you off, and bleh. I get it, okay? I get it. Twilight ruined vampires in terms of making them sexy and instead of scary, but honestly, with a movie this dumb, I genuinely think its only hope could have been going the Venom route, and leading into the cheesiness. Venom went gay, it went sexy, and Venom was a fucking symbiote. Morbius took itself way too seriously and leaned away from the sexy vampire trope. But you cannot deter me. I'm a monster fucker through and through. I'd still fuck Morbius. Matter of fact, I might read some lemon later. Like, picture, instead of going Venom, which it should have done, it went like Logan. No, it didn't go Logan. What did it go? Nothing, because no Marvel movie has sucked this bad. Daredevil. Fuck. Forgot about that movie. It went Daredevil. No. Yes. Because I think I enjoyed Daredevil more because it was, like, so fucking stupid that it was hilarious. Morbius was, like, funny bad sometimes, but not all the time. It was mostly just bad. Michael develops a serum that will kill him and Milo, and his girlfriend is like, no, and he's like, I have to, and, you know, whatever. Blah, blah. Milo kills their surrogate father, the doctor behind the desk, and kidnaps Michael's girlfriend to kill her. Michael shows up by her side, and she's like, don't let it be for nothing. And then she dies. And he drinks her blood, goes psycho, and he and Milo fight. The fight scene at the end. So Michael summons a bunch of bats by putting his fingers into water. I don't know how he does this, but when you, like, watch this shit over and over, you're just like, you start to not question things. You're just like, all right, I guess. Fucking hell. Michael summons a bunch of bats and uses them to, like, pin down the to pin down Milo, and then he injects him and kills him. Then Morbius flies out of the sewer. They were in a sewer, by the way, with his bat friends, and close up to his girlfriend, who opens her eyes and they're red like a vampire. But I was genuinely confused by this part because I don't remember their eyes being red as vampires. Like, they went white with using echolocation, but I don't know if I just don't remember it, or it's like that's something that genuinely was not established before. But either way, her eyes go red as though like, oh, she's a vampire now, which is okay. I thought he drank her blood. So can he only drink part of the human? Does the bite turn them in? Also, at one point midway through, I don't know if this was just my theater, but text appeared at the bottom of the screen. Like an editing mistake, and it just said CH/6, like a typo they forgot to take out of editing. Anyways, that was the movie. It was shit. Oh my god, it sucked. Yeah, and my brothers called their friend and like bitched him out for lying to us. There were like minuscule references to the Spider-Verse in this, but not enough to even mean anything. And then the credits scene at the end was Vulture from the first Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, who appeared in this universe. Anyways, okay, so Morbius, right? Let's talk about the trailer for a second. Okay, from the studio that brought you No Way Home. I mean, you gave us the rights to Spider-Man. You didn't give us No Way Home, technically, if we want to go there.
Dr. Michael Morbius, you've been missing for 2 months.
When you're a stranger.
Then you were found on a container ship that washed up off of Long Island.
They what? They had the actor go back and lie to our face about what happens in the movie? You were found on a shipping container. I'm genuinely trying to figure this one out. So they changed the story specifically for the trailer? Why? Okay.
Hey, Dr. Mike, you and I should stay in touch.
At 2:10, this does not happen in the movie. These people never even interact. Like, okay, legit everything you see in the trailer, every single reference towards a Marvel movie is every single reference they make in the movie. Every single one.
We haven't had anything this good since that thing in San Francisco.
Who the hell are you, man?
I am Venom.
There is, like, you watch the trailer, you watch the movie, you're good. You got everything. You don't need to watch Morbius. Yeah, so that was Morbius. Would I say it was good? No. Was I entertained? Yes. Not because, well, I was entertained because I was like, Jared Leto's kind of fine. It's unfortunate. He had like a couple of good movie roles in the beginning of his career, and it's just gone pretty downhill ever since like Suicide Squad, honestly. Poor guy. Must be that hard to be that big of a douchebag. Method actors, am I right? They're always hot. But at what cost?